Sometimes, life takes a certain turn that simple discipline and contentment could have avoided. Most times, the grasses look greener only on the other side. Join me as we look into the life of King Odenigbo and his life choices. We will also see how far these choices paid off. In the lush green kingdom of Umueze, where the fields were always full of crops and the rivers flowed with crystal clear water, King Odenigbo ruled with wisdom and fairness. His kingdom, known for its peace and prosperity, was admired by nearby lands. Odenigbo was a beloved king, making careful decisions that balanced justice and compassion. Beside him was Queen Nneamaka, a graceful and humble woman whose presence brought warmth to the palace. Together, they built a happy life, blessed with children and adored by their people. The kingdom of Umueze was rich in natural resources, which helped it prosper. Fertile lands and abundant mineral contributed to the kingdom's wealth. Over the years, under King Odenigbo's leadership, Umueze became a beacon of prosperity. Trade routes connected Umueze to distant lands, bringing in exotic goods and ensuring the markets were always lively. The king's wealth was not only in mineral resources, but also in the happiness and well-being of his people. Festivals were frequent and the sound of laughter and music filled the air. The king's palace, a magnificent structure of stone and wood, stood as a testament to the kingdom's glory. Inside its walls, life was vibrant, with Queen Nneamaka at the heart of it all. Queen Nneamaka was beloved by all. Her gentle nature and caring spirit endeared her to both villagers and palace staff. She spent her days visiting the sick, distributing food to the needy, and playing with children. Her beauty was simple yet captivating, a true reflection of her pure heart. As King Odenigbo's wealth and influence grew, so did his ambition. With each conquest and successful trade, his coffers overflowed, and his reputation as a powerful monarch spread far and wide. During this time of growing prosperity, King Odenigbo began to see his wife differently. Nneamaka's simple beauty and humble demeanor, once the qualities that had endeared her to him, now seemed inadequate for a man of his newfound status. He started distancing himself from her. His mind wandered to thoughts of a more suitable consort. One fateful day, during a visit to a nearby village, Odenigbo's eyes fell upon Nwangala, a maiden of extraordinary beauty. Her eyes as bright as the morning star, and her smile could captivate the hardest heart. She moved with an effortless grace, her every gesture exuding confidence and allure. The king was instantly smitten. He could think of nothing else but making her his queen. Nwangala had a reputation for being able to turn any situation to her advantage, a quality that had earned her both admiration and fear. Upon his return to the palace, Odenigbo wasted no time expressing his desire. He summoned his most trusted advisors and informed them of his intention to take Nwangala as his new wife. The news spread through the palace like wildfire, reaching the ears of Queen Nneamaka. She was heartbroken, but she knew better than to question the king's decision. With a heavy heart, she accepted her fate, hoping that her love and dedication to her husband would see her through the storm. Nwangala was brought to the palace with great fanfare. She was adorned with the finest clothes and jewels, her beauty amplified by the wealth that now surrounded her. King Odenigbo showered her with privileges, granting her access to his secrets and wealth, privileges that even Queen Nneamaka did not enjoy. The once harmonious palace, now a place of tension and unease. As Nwangala's influence grew, Nwangala quickly adapted to her new role, her sharp mind and cunning nature, allowing her to navigate the intricacies of the palace life with ease. She became the king's confidant, her opinions and decisions often overweighing those of his seasoned advisors. The palace officials and village elders, who had once enjoyed a respectful relationship with the king, found themselves at the mercy of Nwangala's whims. She dismissed their counsels, insulted their wisdom, and made unilateral decisions that disrupted the kingdom's harmony. Nwangala's rise to power was swift and ruthless. She began to wield her authority with an iron fist, oppressing those who dared to oppose her. The once peaceful palace became a den of tyranny as Nwangala's authority, backed by the king, knew no bounds. The chiefs and elders who had faithfully served the kingdom for years found themselves belittled and humiliated. Their voices, once valued and respected, were now silenced by the new queen's relentless grip on power. Nwangala's tyranny extended beyond the palace walls. She imposed harsh taxes on the villagers, demanding tributes and gifts to fuel her insatiable appetite for luxury. The people of Umueze, who had once lived in harmony, began to suffer under her oppressive rule. The markets, once bustling with activity, grew silent as the villagers struggled to make ends meet. The once joyous festivals and celebrations were replaced by a pervasive sense of fear and uncertainty. Nwangala's obsession with power knew no bounds. She sought to control every aspect of palace life, from the daily operations to the intimate details of court politics. She employed spies to report on the actions of the chiefs and elders, ensuring that any dissent was swiftly crushed. Her cruelty became legend, and her name was spoken in hushed tones, a symbol of fear and oppression. The palace, once a place of laughter and joy, became shrouded in an oppressive silence. The staff moved about their duties with downcast eyes, fearful of incurring Nwangala's wrath. King Odenigbo, blinded by his infatuation, was oblivious to the suffering around him. He believed that Nwangala's assertiveness was a sign of strength, a quality befitting a queen. However, as time passed, he began to see glimpses of the damage that her unchecked power was causing. The once vibrant and lively kingdom was now shrouded in a veil of despair. The elders, driven to desperation, tried to appeal to the king's better judgment, but their pleas fell on deaf ears. Nwangala, ever vigilant, ensured that her influence over the king remained unchallenged. Nwangala retained her control, and the kingdom continued to bend under her iron will. Queen Nneamaka and her children were subjected to increasing cruelty. Their status diminished to that of a commoner. Nwangala reveled in her power. Not long after, King Odenigbo came down with a strange disease. This disease majorly affected his skin, making his skin look very unpleasant to behold. Queen Nwangala could not stand the king's skin condition. She avoided sleeping in the same bed with him. As soon as the king's ailment worsened, Queen Nwangala started having an affair with a secret lover. She kept that affair so discreet that people did not find out. Although Queen Nneamaka tried to make efforts to get access to her husband and attend to him, Nwangala gave her no chance. Soon, the king began to complain about the loneliness he suffers at night and was displeased with that. Rather than allow Queen Nneamaka, who wanted to care for the king, to attend to him, she devised a wicked plan. She would get the king drunk every night and then bring one of her maids, Amuche, who she believed was very naive, to sleep with the king every night. Amuche did not seem to like the idea, but because she needed all the help she can get from Nwangala, she had no choice but to continue warming the king at night. Over time, Amuche paid a visit to her family and confided in her mother, a wise and seasoned woman who listened intently to her daughter's plight. With a knowing glint in her eyes, she offered a priceless advice that would change her life, encouraged her and emboldened her. Amuche returned to the palace, her resolve steeled. Amuche, though simple, had grown weary of Nwangala's intentions. She had seen and heard more than she was supposed to, and her loyalty to Nwangala began to waver. When Nwangala set off to meet her secret lover, Amuche saw an opportunity. She informed a group of trusted elders and young men of Nwangala's treachery, orchestrating a public disgrace. The night was dark and filled with a tense silence as Nwangala met her lover in a secluded house on the outskirts of the village. Unbeknownst to them, a band of young men led by the village elders had surrounded the house. They burst in, catching the adulterous pair in the act. The scene was chaotic, with shouts and accusations filling the air. Nwangala's pleas for mercy fell on deaf ears as the mob dragged her through the village streets, her once regal attire now in tatters. The punishment for adultery in Umueze was severe, often leading to banishment or even death by stoning. The villagers, incensed by Nwangala's tyranny, showed no mercy. Her lover, equally disgraced, fled into the night, leaving Nwangala to face her fate all alone. The mob, fueled by years of pent-up anger and resentment, chose banishment. Nwangala, the once powerful queen, was driven out of the village, her cries echoing in the night. Dear viewer, before we continue, a big shout out to Alvira Bruce. Thank you for that lovely comment. Please comment the name of the city you're watching from and tell us what you think about King Odenigbo. The best comments get a shout out. Also, I want to appeal to you to like this video and subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so. It would count a lot towards the growth of this channel, and it is totally free from your end. Please support us, okay? Thank you. Now, let's continue. King Odenigbo, upon hearing the news, was devastated. His infatuation was gradually waning off, and he was slowly returning to his former self. The reality of Nwangala's betrayal and the chaos she had wrought hit him like a thunderbolt. The elders, however, were relieved, their authority restored. Queen Nneamaka's children rejoiced, seeing hope for a brighter future. Gradually, the king's skin condition began to get better, and in a short while, he was healed. But it took him a long time to get over the betrayal that he had just suffered. He kept to himself most of the time, saying all by himself to think about what just happened. Amuche, though instrumental to Nwangala's downfall, was not without ambition. She harbored dreams of becoming one of the king's wives, a status that would elevate her from a mere maid to a position of power. The palace, still reeling from the recent upheaval, was tense. Amuche saw her chance, and one night she sneaked into the king's chambers, hoping to seduce him. However, the king, now with a hold of himself and no longer under Nwangala's influence, was alert. He caught Amuche's scent before she could reach his bed. His voice thundered through the halls as he called for the guards. Disgust and betrayal etched on his face. He ordered Amuche to be thrown out. As the guards seized her, Amuche screamed, "I am pregnant with the king's child." The proclamation halted everyone in their tracks. The king's fury turned to confusion as he demanded an explanation. Amuche, trembling and desperate, recounted the nights she had spent in his bed, substituting for Nwangala. The revelation sent shockwaves through the palace. The king, filled with remorse and guilt, found it hard to accept the truth. Amidst the chaos, Queen Nneamaka stepped forward, her heart softened by Amuche's plight. She pleaded with the king to show mercy, arguing that the innocent child did not deserve to suffer for the sins of others. Moved by her compassion, Odenigbo relented, allowing Amuche to stay in the palace. As Amuche's pregnancy progressed, Queen Nneamaka's kindness shone through. She cared for Amuche, ensuring she had everything she needed. The king, witnessing Nneamaka's grace and forgiveness, began to reflect on his own actions. His heart, once hardened by pride and ambition, softened. He sought to make amends, gradually restoring harmony to the royal household. Though King Odenigbo found it difficult to look at Amuche, as her presence was a constant reminder of his past mistakes, he and Queen Nneamaka treated her and her unborn child with dignity and care. The palace, once a place of strife and tension, began to heal. The elders resumed their rightful roles, and the villagers saw their beloved kingdom returning to its former glory. In time, the child was born, a symbol of new beginnings and the enduring strength of forgiveness and redemption. The birth of Amuche's child was a significant event. She was delivered of a baby boy named Chinedu, meaning God guides. King Odenigbo, humbled by his journey, ruled with newfound wisdom and compassion, always remembering the lessons he had learned. Queen Nneamaka, ever the pillar of strength, stood by his side. Her quiet grace, a beacon of hope for all Umueze. Amuche's position was precarious. Though she was allowed to stay, her presence was a constant reminder of the tumultuous events that had shaken the kingdom. The palace staff treated her with a mixture of pity and disdain, and the villagers whispered about her behind her back. Amuche, determined to secure a future for herself and her child, sought to prove her loyalty and worth to the royal family. She threw herself into her duties, working tirelessly to earn the respect of all around her. She spent long hours assisting Queen Nneamaka with her charitable endeavors, hoping to gain the queen's favor. However, in all, King Odenigbo accepted the child but maintained that Amuche would remain nothing but a maid if ever she would remain in the palace. Nwangala, once the queen of Umueze, now wandered aimlessly through the forest. Her once immaculate clothes were now tattered, her beauty marred by the harshness of exile. She survived on wild fruits and occasional acts of charity from kind strangers. She was, however, too ashamed to return to her village, as the people she had hurt there were waiting to receive her and also pay her in her coin. The bitterness of her fall from grace gnawed at her, and she often found herself replaying the events that led to her downfall. She settled in a small town, a remote village far from Umueze. Here, she was an outcast, a stranger with a mysterious past. The villagers, wary of her haughty demeanor and strange habits, kept their distance. All Nwangala's attempts to assert herself, to regain even a shadow of her former power, were met with suspicion and rejection. She was forced to live humbly, a far cry from her days of luxury and influence. King Odenigbo's journey of redemption was a painful one. He was haunted by the memories of his actions, the suffering he had caused his people, and the pain he had inflicted on Queen Nneamaka. He sought solace in the wisdom of the elders and counsel of his trusted advisors, hoping to find a path to atonement. Queen Nneamaka, ever the source of strength and compassion, stood by his side throughout this process. Her unwavering support and gentle encouragement helped the king find the courage to face his past and work towards a brighter future. The bond between them grew stronger, their love rekindled by the shared goal of healing their kingdom. This is the end of the story. What do you think about Queen Nneamaka? Is she the ideal kind of wife? Do you think her calmness is what the world of today needs? Tell us in the comment section, please. And please do not forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. It's a way of supporting us. Thank you very much. I do appreciate you all. And for all my subscribers, thank you so much. I love you all. You people are the reasons I keep coming back with more stories. I really appreciate you. Remain blessed and prosper in all you do. Until the next video, bye.